Welcome to T Boys TV. We are back again with another Hatter Show, obviously episode 123. And obviously in this one, we'll be discussing that midweek game against Burnley. And then obviously we will be getting into a very, very big game. Obviously every game's massive in the Premier League, but this is the first big team, as they say, coming to Kenilworth Road. So it's going to be very interesting. TNT Sports. Obviously, early kickoff as well. Obviously, I'll be back again with a watch-along. First one since the West Ham game. I'm correct? Yes, I am correct there. I can remember from the top of my head. So, yeah, make sure you do tune into that if you can as well. But, yeah, big up to everyone that was inside, liking, all of that sort of thing. Like always, I'm joined with my dad. How are we, Dad?
All good, mate. Hope everyone's cool. Just downloading EAFC 24, so I'll be playing a bit of that later. So yeah, all good, mate. Looking forward to the game tomorrow.
Yeah, no, 100%. But yeah, let's get straight into it. So obviously the Burnley game is what we're going to get into, of course, to start off with. And yeah, it was, it's frustrating, because it's a game, we both went into feeling confident, especially after that Everton game, in the Premier League. We felt we could, get a result, especially if Burnley, being winless, us being at home, we could start off that Kenilworth Road form, essentially, because we've said it numerous amount of times. If we do stay up this season, it will, come down to majority of home games, we do believe. But yeah, the lineup in this one was Kaminsky, Menji, Lockyer and Bell as their back three, obviously including the keeper. The wing backs were Kabore and Doughty. In the midfield was Ruddock and Nakamba. And then essentially the front three, it was Brown, Chio and Morris. And then as for the bench, it was Elijah, Anderson, Berry, Burke, Chong, Giles, Johnson, Krul and Woodrow. So looking at that, it was good to see, obviously Chio, still starting, obviously, Doughty still starting, that sort of thing. There was a few changes I would have made personally, especially defensively, as much as I think I did say Bell, he did need to be rested at some point. We've been saying it. He's been playing continuously, even the international break just gone, and there's another one coming up, unfortunately, but he's been playing, consistently for Jamaica, 90 minutes as well, non-stop, and obviously pretty much non-stop for us, whether that's left wing back or left centre back. So I thought he should have, been rested, but other than that, it's probably, I think it's what I said, I remember saying Ruddock and Nakamba in midfield because, Nakamba's been good. Ruddock, it's been a bit on and off for me, but again, there's not really any other options, other than Berry, but Berry, hasn't really got that opportunity. And Ruddock can do a bit of both as well, which helps with, a two in midfield essentially is what it was. So it makes sense there. But yeah, other than that, it's what I expected, really. Maybe Anderson to come in, ahead of Bell, and then Menji go on to that left because we know he can play on that left, which is one of the main reasons we did get him. But yeah, other than that, I was happy with it. What did you make of the lineup, Bud?
Yeah, similar. Like I would have rested Bell, and it was talked about. It didn't happen. Now he's got an injury, so hopefully it won't be too bad. We've got the international break coming up, so just hopefully it's not too bad and you can just rest for that. Menji, yeah, decent. And then, yeah, the other guys pretty much expected, really.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Before we get into the first half, we'll go through some comments. Got quite a lot of comments flying in, so big up. Chris says, big up, lads. Be at work time you see this. I'm buzzing for Carlisle away day tomorrow at Bolton. Over 4K Carlisle fans rise up to 5K. PSG only took 2K. Well, the 2K that did go to that game, geez, they wouldn't have been happy, would they? But yeah, no, fair play. We've said it, when it comes to, the teams in the lower leagues. You know, Carlisle do have a very loyal fan base, similar to us in that aspect. So yeah, enjoy it, mate. Enjoy it, and yeah, big up to yourself. When it comes to that, big up to Stephen. He says big up to Ty, big up to yourself, mate. Big up to Jamie. He says yo yo, and he also says he's watching from Sheffield. So big up yourself, mate. Stephen also says big up to you as well, Dad.
Big up, mate.
And then he has a little say on Bell as well. He says Bell travelling takes it out of you as well. Definitely needed a rest. Exactly, that's the thing. You know, that's the thing as well. They're travelling non-stop and that sort of thing. And for me, it's cost us, you know, not doing that. But obviously, we'll get into that because that is the first talking point that I do want to get into in this game. So obviously, he did come off. Burke come on, which I was surprised about because, you know, Anderson, like I say, proper helped us for me in that Everton game, you know, see it out, him and Menji when they come on. And also the fact with Burke is, yeah, he was available to be on the bench, hence why he was, but he wasn't 100%. You know, I think even in the build-up, you know, Rob Edwards didn't essentially say that, but he said, you know, he is recovering well, that sort of thing, and he will be available. But I don't know, man, just with how composed Anderson's been as well when he come in, I felt he should have played. You know, when Burke's come on in this game as well, he's went over to the left. I don't know if we've ever seen that before. You know, he's predominantly been on the right. We know that. So I was very surprised, you know, that he come on, if I'm honest, especially in that position as well. Maybe, you know, I wouldn't have been surprised if he put, you know, Menji into that left side and then Burke onto the right. That would have been better for me. Would have made more sense. But yeah, obviously Bell gets an injury, which will rule him out for tomorrow's game. Rob Edwards did confirm that earlier. Which again, it's unfortunate, you know, for him, but is what it is, I guess, when he's been overplayed. But was you surprised about that change, Dad?
I wasn't necessarily surprised about the change, just more surprised about that he actually was playing like, you know, left back, or left centre back, whatever you want to call it. Like, because I hadn't seen him play there before for us. And when he was coming on, you could see, if you can read a little bit, you can see that Robert was saying to him, "You're right, like, sure, do you know what I mean?" kind of thing. So obviously, he probably was feeling it still a little bit, and they would have hoped to have kept him on the bench. But like you say, like, even if we was going to bring him on over Anderson, I'd have felt like Menji would have moved to that side. I think he can play in that position with left-footed. I'm not sure, but so yeah, it was a little
Yeah.
no. He played in that position.
Yeah, no, 100%. And then moving on to the next bit of the first half, I'm just going to go straight to it. Obviously, their first goal. Disappointing goal to concede for me because it's two straight passes, you know, down the middle. You know, I felt, especially when that second pass was made, and Lockyer did have a slight touch on it for me. He's got to be doing better there. And I always felt, you know, when Foster was 1-on-1, he was just going to score. And yeah, for me, it's a frustrating goal to concede. But based on the first half, we probably deserved to concede because Burnley were the better side, and we're playing all right in spells. But it's been similar to what we've seen in the sense where we're not doing enough going forward at times. You know, we're having the good spells and that, but you know, the final third's not quite there, etc., like it has been in certain first halves as well. But what did you make of the goal for Burnley, the first one?
Yeah, like, so the first half, this is what we've been doing, like, obviously more so in the Premier League because you kind of have to, but you sort of size teams up, see what they're offering, and that's what we seem to be doing. Trying to play our way, but still in the back of our minds going, well, we'll see how strong they are, how deadly they are, you know what I mean? Things like that. So yeah, it's a bit huff and puff, but it weren't terrible. And then yeah, the goal, like this, you know, Ruddock's first full game in the Premier League. Initially, like, come out defeated, sort of bypassed him, and then they played it again forward. Lockyer, you know, he is a good defender, but a real quality Premier League defender would have probably have been able to have just nudged that away, I think. But he's still done well to stick with the guy, and it was a little bit unlucky how it come off of him. But in that moment, yeah, a high quality defender probably would have got a better touch, but it is what it is. The finish at first, I thought it was wide because it was right in that bottom corner. Kaminsky was right to become rushing out, because he nearly got hold of it. And yeah, they did play slightly better in the first half. So if anyone was going to score or deserved it, it was them.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I definitely agree. We've seen, a few times with Lockyer this season. The Wolves game's another example. The goal they got in that game is, like you say, if there was, a slightly better one, obviously, we love the guy in that, but you just got to be real, and he is getting caught out quite easily for me at times. And, it's not necessarily his fault, what I'm going to say here, but he hasn't, got the, quickest pace as well. So obviously that's, not ideal in certain situations. But yeah, obviously they go 1-0 up at half time. Obviously getting that goal in the 45th plus second minute. Going into the second half, obviously we made some changes like was needed. Kabore come off, Elijah come on. So obviously we've got more attacking. We're trying to chase that goal, obviously 1-0 down. And Elijah come on and he was really good in this game. Really good, working very well on that left-hand side where he was making a lot of runs, good control, which we know he's good at anyway, but, good link-up play, that sort of thing. Definitely really affected the game. Chong also come on as well. He affected the game as well. That is the Chong I was used to seeing when he first come in, where he's getting on the ball, he's making them forward passes, trying to do things, the opposition players struggling to, handle him at times. And yeah, they were good subs. Brown come off, and we were piling up a lot of pressure, on them in the second half. Come out much better in the second half, the start of it anyway. And then obviously we were having chance upon chance upon chance. They cleared one off the line. We just kept having corners upon corners, and it was brilliant. I was saying to you, when we were watching it, we deserve to score. If we come out of this game with nothing at that time, I would have been fuming because we were just all over it. Like, we deserved to score. Obviously, we did get the goal, Elijah, and he deserved it. He deserved it. Like I said, when he come on, he was really good. Burke with the assist, headed it across to him. And really good goal, and he needs that because obviously, as we know, he is a confidence player. So it's good that he got that goal, very well taken as well. Like I say, the way he controlled it, obviously, managed to put it through their players' legs as well, and it was a great finish. It was a great finish by Elijah. But what did you make of the goal, Dad?
Yeah, it was a good goal. We were dominating in the second half. Just relentless attacking. It was good to see, and they got some good players, but the way we dominate, it's good to see that we can do that in the Premier League. And yeah, we had enough chance. Brown come alive in the second half. His header got cleared off the line. And Burke got that good knockdown. Classic sort of penalty area play, and a great swivel and shot, in my opinion. Done, and he'll do that to defenders if he's given the chance. And other than that, like before that, his link-up play was good. So yeah, it was coming. It was coming. We were watching it together, and I said, look, if this was the other way round, that happening to us, we'd be like, that team's going to score in a minute. That team is going to score, and then we did. And then shit went down.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Before I get into that, I'll get through a few comments. Jackie says, hi, Ty Daz, was really happy for Elijah. Yeah, no, absolutely. Obviously, like we said, we all know this, he's a confidence player. So to get that goal is hopefully going to get him off the mark now. So yeah, no, absolutely. Stephen says, great great work and goal from Elijah. Monkey off his back. Hopefully we can see more. Yeah, exactly. You know, echoing what I said there. But yeah, don't know what happened after. You know, if I'm being totally honest, literally we were. Well, I was celebrating like absolutely crazy. I was like, yes, come on, we finally got that goal that we've deserved. And then literally, you know how they love to show replays and that sort of thing about 20 million times. They literally go off the replay and Burnley just absolutely banged it into the top corner. And I'm like, what is going on here? Like, seriously, what is going on here? This is giving me Grimsby at home vibes again. You know what I mean? But great goal. But again, it comes down to what I was saying. You know, Burke, I don't know why he was in that left centre back role. You know, we've never seen him there. You know, especially from what I can think from the top of my head. He's much better on that right. And, you know, obviously he got done there, you know, and you just can't switch off like that. You know, we've done this before, like I said, against Grimsby. Again, similar, you know, in the sense of me, I was celebrating. Obviously, I was at that game, was celebrating, and then with a Luton fan, and then we was celebrating in front of a load of Grimsby fans because we were near them. And then next minute, we literally look and they've scored, and then they're rinsing us. You know what I mean? But Rob Edwards did say, you know, in his post match, you can't afford to do that at any level, you know, let alone the Premier League. But it's just not good enough, and we can't afford to keep doing it, especially where we're having these tight games. It's not like we're, you know, scoring, you know, with all the chances we have, we're scoring loads of goals. You know, we need to work on that. But what did you make of them just scoring out of nowhere, Dad?
No, I've seen it before. I'd say I think we've done it against Grimsby. I've seen it before, and I've listened to it back in the day before. I used to listen to them on the radio. It's just a bit of naivety. We over-celebrated it. We weren't switched on. Players weren't really in position, and you got to expect that because they didn't you know, they got some quality players, and they just should have been switched on. It was annoying. It was a great finish. And you can say Burke should, you know, but they were all switched off. Even if Burke wasn't, you know, but quite able to handle him, there should have been someone in there. Do you know what I mean? And it's early, lesson learned. Simple as that. But yeah, it was just frustrating. And from then, I knew that was it. We didn't get back into this game now.
That's the thing, yeah.
Kind of. Even though we still played all right, you know, we're still going forward, but not with the same intensity. So it happens. You know, when the Arsenal-Tottenham game the other week, you know, as soon as Arsenal scored, Tottenham scored straight away. Twice, I think it happened as well. So it's not unusual, but we could have definitely dealt with that. We could have definitely prevented that at that moment. You know, because if they were that much on top, then they would have gone on to win the game, but they didn't. We still kept, you know what I'm saying? So, lesson learned.
Yeah. I think another thing that I don't want to, you know, moan at Rob Edwards, but I think another thing that didn't help was that he did over-celebrate. Like we would, you know, it was the 90th minute, like it was the Bournemouth game, for example. You know, and I just don't know. I feel that, you know, players would have obviously seen that, and I feel that played a part as well. To be honest,
yeah,
you know,
we should have. In hindsight, we're not the managers, whatever. But you know, kept that and then carried on doing what we was doing. And if we'd have got the winner, then that
would have been sick.
90th minute. But yeah.
Look, I get it. You know, emotions. We did deserve to score. You know, obviously we did deserve to get that equaliser, but it's just I think the over-celebrating was a bit too much.
These things happen, and then you know they shouldn't happen again. Like in their moment, you might concede straight, but you've got to be switched on. And if someone bamboozles you and fucking runs through and scores a worldie, then there's nothing you can do about that anyway. But as I said, we could have prevented this, so you just need to be more switched on. And you know, Tottenham are a better outfit than Burnley are. So
and they even showed that when they played. They've already played each other this season. It was like 5-2 to Spurs, wasn't it? So that was away. So exactly. exactly. And they've got them players that can proper hurt us on the break. But obviously, we'll get into that. But yeah, I think that's the overall thoughts, really. That I'm going to say, based upon the full 90 minutes. Any final things you'd like to say, Dub, before we jump into the player ratings?
No.
There you go. But yeah, like I say, let's jump straight into the player ratings. So obviously, starting off with Kaminsky. Like I say, the second goal was a really good goal. He couldn't have done anything about it. The first goal, I agree with you. He was in the right to try and get it. He nearly did. So the goals, I don't blame him. That's reminded me of a lot of what I said at the start of the season, the first couple of games. But obviously, he has still conceded two. But like I said, I don't blame him for it. I'll go for 6.5.
I'll give him a 7. He had no chance with the second goal. First goal, he was close. He did make a couple of good saves as well. His distribution was better in this game. So I'll give him a 7.
Fair enough. Stephen says 7. He was okay. Yeah, exactly. Like I say, couldn't have done anything about the goals. Moving on to the next player, Bell, I'll just say 6 because obviously he come off very, pretty early on, didn't he? 20 minutes. So I'll just go over 6 for Bell.
Yeah, agree.
Just straight up. You the same with that? Yeah. And then moving on we'll go over to Menji. Again, he looked decent in this game. Obviously, apparently the extra game, bar that shot. Again, he's a defender. He was good in that game. Looks physical. And I said that when we signed him. Looks very bulky and he looks like he, not afraid to deal with anyone in that sense. But yeah, I thought he was okay in this game, to be honest. A few good passes across, that sort of thing, and yeah, he's looking decent. Obviously that was his full first Premier League game, ever. So I'm gonna go with a 7.
Yeah, I'll give him a 7. I thought he looked composed. He looks like a Premier League player, albeit, and he's very young as well. He's just going to get better and better. I think we might have signed a gem there. I think I said that last time, but I do. Good passing, good awareness, and it will just get better and better. 7.
Yeah. Jackie's rating for Kaminsky, she's gone with a 7. Stephen's gone with a 6 for Bell, same with Jackie. 7.5 for Menji, says Jackie. And then Stephen says Menji 7.5, looks decent, knows how to read the game, passing on point as well. Good full debut. Yeah, it was, to be honest. It was. And then moving on to the next player, we'll go over to Lockyer. Obviously, like I say, got to be doing better on the goal. Like I say, we see similarities in the sense of, the Wolves game where, he does get caught out. I'm going to go over 6.5.
Yeah, I'll give him 6.5. He sort of puffed and puffed a little bit. And there was that moment. And again, he got brought off, but it was more for the black eye initially, like in the previous game. He's been playing some hefty games in the last 2 or 3 games, and he's been heavily involved. And don't forget, he was slightly behind everyone else with the pre-season, and that this is what's being mentioned about Ross Barkley as well, which is why I won't be surprised if he starts, but I'll be benching him and bringing him on, keep getting them minutes in. It weren't terrible, but yeah, definitely seen better. But the previous game was better. So, do you know what I mean? But can't play like that every week. 6.5.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And then moving over to Kabore, obviously he did get subbed. I thought he was. Every time he's one-on-one with a player, I worry. I'm just going to be straight up. I think his passing was all over the place. Some of the passing he was doing behind, I'm like, what are you doing? You're just putting players under pressure. poor from him again. To be honest, it wasn't even for me great against Everton, and we won that game. But it does worry me, especially if he does start tomorrow. He'll be up against Son. That could be a long day. I'm not going to lie, that could be a long afternoon. Yeah, poor for me. Poor hasn't shown anything, really, if I'm being honest. Making a few forward runs and people getting gassed about it. Come on, man. Half the time he's crossing it in and they're just poor crosses. You're not even going into the box, half of them. They're going behind the goal. It's just not good enough, man. It's not good enough. So yeah, I'm going with a 5.
Yeah, I'll give him a 5. Same. It was boring. It just looks like he's just, I don't know what it is, trying too hard. Because he can't be that. He's playing for Man City. They want to keep him. He's with them, so he must have some ability, like Premier League qualities. But we just haven't really seen it enough, like especially defensively. And if that's not his best position, then why the hell haven't we backed that up? Because from what I've seen, he's he makes a couple of good tackles, but it's like 20%. Same as his crossing and things. It's not. He needs to balance that out more, and unfortunately, we haven't really got anyone else in that position. And I think in January we will go for someone in that position. But yeah, 5 just looks a bit. It just needs to calm down. And against Tottenham, I can't see him. Do you know what I mean? That's like the hardest team we've faced probably this season. Chelsea, Tottenham, they're unbeaten.
Oh, it is.
It's probably the hardest team we've faced. Tough. 5.
I'll say if he does play, for me, it's going to be a long afternoon because he's going to be up against Son, mate. It's going to be up against Son. People will be like, oh, but the defender behind will be there. Yeah, but this is who will be running up against first. I mean, I do worry. But your ratings for the other players. Lockyer 6.5, says Jackie. Lockyer 6.2, looks sluggish and off the pace this game. Shane. Yeah, exactly. Issa 5.5, says Jackie. Bore 6, defending is a worry. It is. And like I say, yes, we won the Everton game, but Everton could see that that right-hand side of, well, their left-hand side of attacking, but our right-hand side was dangerous. They could get at it. And, we're going to be playing better teams than Everton. Do you know what I mean? Like your Man Cities, your Liverpools, and Tottenham tomorrow. Do you know what I mean? It's going to be, if he's playing, mate, I'm telling you now, it's going to be a long day. It's going to be a long afternoon, mate. I'm telling you now. So, yeah, that's that. So, yeah, that is that. Moving on to the next player, we'll go over to Doughty, obviously on the other side. For me, me and my dad have said it. He's been the player of the season so far, even though, we're not even halfway through the season. But, again, I thought he wasn't as good as he's been, but again, he has played a lot recently. He's one that I feel he still can't really drop. To be honest, whether he's playing on the left or right of that wing back, I just feel you can't drop him still. He was all right. He was all right, but I've seen better. But again, like I said, he has been playing quite a lot. So when it comes to Doughty, I'll be going with a 7. I'm going with a 7 when it comes to him. Your rating for Doughty, Dad?
Yeah, I agree. 7. He's getting taken out of him a bit. You can see that because he's delivering. He was quite effective, but not as effective as he has been. And obviously, he come off like he absolutely showed. So yeah, 7.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Jackie says 7.5. And then moving on to the midfielders, we'll start off with Ruddock. I didn't think he was too bad. Obviously, like I say, he had to really be in because there's not really any other options. Obviously, Klopp's out. Obviously, Lukonga's out. And obviously, preferably, we like them 2 sort of CDMs, really, if we're going to play with 2 midfielders. and obviously the three up front. But I thought he was okay. I don't think he was terrible, but I don't think he was overly great. I'll go with 7.
I'll give him a 6. I don't think he was. I think he's quite passive, and then obviously led to the first goal, kind of. Do you know what I mean? And then there were some times where he was doing what he used to do in the Championship last season. We didn't like it when he was trying to sort of dribble out of the box, defensively and that. And I was thinking, what are you? You can't be doing that in the Premier League. You can't.
Yeah.
And just weren't really involved in the game for me. Being a midfielder as well, he should have been probably much more effective. So yeah, 6 for me. I don't think he'll start tomorrow.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. Stephen's gone. Doughty 7.5. Working hard as always. Crossing and set pieces still dangerous. Has played a lot. Yeah, exactly. I said that. Obviously, played a lot. Jackie's gone with a 7 for Ruddock. Same as me. Stephen says a 6.8. Obviously not his position, but a shadow in Nakamba best he can. Yeah, exactly. Obviously, I'll move on to Nakamba. If I was to give a man a match, I'd give it to him again. Obviously, I gave it to him against Everton. I just thought he's exceptional. The way he's winning the ball. I think I said last week most tackles won. Pretty sure he's still top of that. He won a lot of tackles in this game as well. And he's just looking like what he was, when he was on loan last season. Technically, at times, it felt like it was just him in midfield. And I'm not going to lie. So, yeah, Nakamba was good for me. Like I say, if I was to give a man a match, it would be him. I'll go... we did concede 2. We lost. I'll go over 8, which is quite high for him, considering the result. So, yeah.
Definitely was one of our better players overall. 7.5 for me. Just the engine he's got, and he's growing into it. He's relishing the challenge. You know what I mean? He's settling. He's definitely a Premier League quality player. He's got them abilities that you need as a defensive midfielder. A couple of times have passed, but when he's literally bossing up, doing everything in midfield, you can expect that. So, and then he got a yellow card for mouthing off to the ref, I think, about a decision that he'd made. But it shows he's up there. If anything, we talk about, Mads Anderson being potentially a captain or whatever. But Nakamba, mate, do you know what I mean? Should be considered.
And the thing is, obviously, the players respect everyone, but he's got a lot of respect as well. For what he's done. He's come in and that's.
He's even been having shots. I've seen him have, but we know he ain't scored. He rarely scores. So when he does, but he's still, he's putting that extra in the cause. He probably will score this season for us, I reckon.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, 7.5.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Marvelous 8. Says Jackie's the same as me again. Stephen says 8 as well. 100% my man of the match. His tackling and mopping up is excellent. He is quality. Yeah, exactly. And the reason why I was annoyed at him the first couple of games, even the friendlies, and people go, "Oh, it's friendlies, red to tear," but that's your time to show, really, isn't it? Sometimes for certain players. He was doing some silly tackles, very silly tackles, getting silly yellow cards, but he's not doing that now. And it's the Nakamba we've seen, mopping up, like you're saying, and winning them balls and steadying the ship in that sense. Obviously, we're still conceding goals, but that's not really down to him for me. It's just the defence getting caught out, really, at times. So, yeah. Big up to Shay. He says, "Hey, T." Yeah, obviously, I saw this earlier. Well, we both did. And, I'll let you go first on this one, Duff. See Townsend.
Yeah, but he's 32. But, he's got a lot of Premier League experience. Plays on the right wing. I was thinking potentially it could be, plays like Chio does. Or maybe a little bit more defensively to give that cover. If he does start instead of Chio for, the Man City loanee to cover him. I think it might be a bit of that. So yeah, but he's a quality player. He's got the experience. If he's available on a free and we do manage to sign him, then I'll be pleased with that. I think Burnley initially tried to sign him at the beginning of this season, and for some reason it didn't go through. I think it was something to do with contracts or whatever. So they were interested in having that experience. So if he does well tonight, he's obviously a quality player anyway. So it's not really. It's just to probably see, if he's fit enough, basically. And I think if he is, then we will sign him. Also, he's played at Tottenham. Like I say, he's got a lot of experience, and I'll be pleased with that.
Yeah. No, I would as well. He's got a lot of experience. Played, international level as well, quite a lot as well. So he's got that experience, and obviously we have got one space, as we know. Obviously for a free agent, so it could be him. It all depends how he does tonight. But I'd definitely take that, more option. And the thing is, as well, he, the only player who scored 2 or more goals is Morris this season. If he was to come in, if he's, available, he's bound to score for us, for me. Just for the fact, of how many games he's played in the Premier League. He's got that experience, like I say, and obviously he is predominantly an attacker that likes, obviously, to go out wide. So, for me, I'll definitely take him, especially if he does well tonight. That's how I see it. And also, while we're talking, about obviously the development squad and all that sort of thing. Obviously, Johnson, who's been a regular, when it comes to being in the first team, has obviously got called up for the England under-18s. So yeah, big up to him. He deserves it, and it's good to see now that we're in the Premier League. We're starting to get, obviously it's only him at the moment, but players picked, for England. So it's big up to him. Big up to him for that. But yeah, that is that. Big up YT. He says Nakamba a baller. Yeah, he is at the moment, mate. Like I say, consistent man of the match for me in the last 2 games. Chio needs to start every match. He's a gem. Yeah, again, he's one of them names, isn't he, where he's just on the team sheet at the moment. So I definitely agree with that. He's just causing threats. Yes, he hasn't scored or got an assist yet, but just the way he runs at players and makes things happen, gets us corners, etc. He definitely deserves to carry on starting. And then moving on to Brown. We'll start off with Brown. Now, for me personally, since the Fulham game, he's still done bits, but he hasn't quite been the same, in the sense of he had not a lot of chances, but he had, a good chance in that Fulham game. Unlucky not to score. He hasn't really been as effective when it comes to, having the chances for me. He's come back and done, done well, helped out the defence, but, I don't think he was too great in the game. Obviously, he did get a yellow card as well. Can't really remember it, to be honest. But yeah, I'm going to go over 6.5. I'm going to go quite low for Brown.
I think the first half he was quite, again, passive. But in the second half, he was involved in a lot of stuff for me. He had a header cleared off the line. He was causing quite a lot of problems going forward, and he was helping initiate them attacks quite a lot. So I'm going to give him a 7.
Fair enough. Jackie's gone with the same. She's gone with a 7. Steve says Brown 6. Be generous. I don't rate Brown either. YT. I couldn't agree more, mate. Couldn't agree more. And we are loving to see that. I can't lie. They're just one space below the relegation. Just had to remind people, and that's in the Championship. But anyway, moving on to Chio. Obviously, like we said, obviously he deserves to start. His consistency levels have been there. And again, he was a massive part of this game, in the sense of where he was making them forward runs. Unlucky at times, I felt, not to get an assist, etc. So yeah, he was decent. I'll go for the number that he does have on his shirt, which is that number 7.
Yeah, I'll give him 7. I thought like he was involved in a lot of stuff, especially early on as well. Almost straight away when Morris closed down Trafford. I know we nearly scored from that, and there was another opportunity as well where he come close. And he's confident, you know, and he's growing into the matches as well. And as you said, probably needs to be starting. Been called up for the Ireland squad, obviously, yet again as well. So yeah, 7.
Yeah, and that reminded me. Shout out to Brown. He did actually get that call up for Scotland, which for me he deserved to be in the last one. I'm not gonna lie. So it's good that he's in it. But for me, I do question. You know, if we weren't in the Premier League, would they even get a look in like Black Brown and that? Chio obviously would because he was part of it anyway. You know, even when he was at Rotherham. But I don't know. But it's good to see. Good to see that he's in it. And then moving on to the last player out of the starting 11 was obviously Morris. I thought he was okay. He was still decent in this game. You know, another talking point I haven't even mentioned is the penalty or the penalty shout. Sorry, for me it's the penalty. You know, you look at it firsthand and it does look like it's won the ball, but as you see it through other angles, he hasn't. You know, and it's just annoying. You know, VAR, man. What is the point of having it if you're not going to use it? That's twice now. We should have had penalties, in my opinion. Let's be honest. The West Ham game and now this game. And they've not
Yeah.
even looked at it. They've not even looked at it. It's just a
For
joke.
me,
It's just a joke.
for me, they obviously they've looked at it in the background. We just haven't seen it on you know, they haven't looked at it as in we need to be checking this. Like go and, you know, ref, go and have a look at it. The problem is that he did get a touch to the ball, and I think that's what they're probably just looking at. That if you didn't get a touch to the ball, it'd have been 100%. But it's this clear and obvious thing, even though it doesn't match up anyway. It's because he got a touch of the ball, and that's it. But you know, I do feel like if it was the other way around, or it was against another team or whatever, and then they would have got it. Do you think that?
Yeah.
But you just got to roll with the punches. We've talked about it already. VAR, you never know what you're going to get. You know, even when you score, you're thinking, right, there's always in the back of your mind now, like, was anyone offside? Was there this, that, and the other leading up to it? Straight away, you're thinking that. I think certain referees would have given that initially, and also because the referee didn't give it initially, I think that sort of knocks it on to VAR a little bit. And then they're like, right, why didn't he give it? Oh yeah, there was a touch. That's why. That's all. Do you know what I mean? But everyone's got different mentalities, different opinions on it. You know, both commentators afterwards were, you know, in the studio were like, yeah, the penalty should have been given. Da, da, da. So, and we probably would have went on and won the game, but it happens. You know, we might get away with one ourselves because they got away with it a little bit. We might get away with something ourselves like that. You know, so yeah.
Yeah. It's just annoying because the West Ham game, for me, the pressure we were putting on at that moment, obviously we were 2-1 down, we would have scored. And the same with this. I just felt we would have scored. You know, people say, but we just had the momentum in them games to go on and score. So it's just frustrating for me. But yeah, my rating, I didn't even give one, I don't think. But yeah, I'll say 7.5 for Morris. He was still working hard and
Yeah, he's
can't
close
really
to being
top it for me again.
man of the match for me. 7.5. Put himself about. You know, had quite a few chances. You know, snatched at a couple as well. Like if he gets that little bit more, you know, headers a little bit more spot on, he's going to score a few. You know, I think his goals potentially could keep us up. But yeah, battling performance probably should have been a penalty. You know, well, he's getting stronger each game and knowing, you know, where kind of to position himself more, and that you can see it. You know, You know, some players when they're later on in their career, you know, he's like 27, first time he's played, but sometimes it works with players. You know, Callum Wilson was a bit like that. You know, coming to the Premier League, I don't know, 24, 25, a bit older, you know, and started doing well. And it happens with some players, and I think Morris is one of them. So he was close to being a man of the match for me, 7.5.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Let me go through some more comments, and then we'll get on to the players that come on. Big up to everyone inside as well. Currently 10 people. Make sure you smash that like button and do subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I will say buy a new experienced attacker to make Adebayo, Morris and Brown more competition. If they're struggling, Morris is doing okay, but the rest is struggling. Well, it links to what we said for me. You know, see how not Anderson, Townsend. It's because his first name begins with an A, doesn't it? Andros Townsend, that's it. So, yeah, see how he does today, and then we'll go from there. Because obviously we've got one space, haven't we, to get a free agent. And obviously that's what he is, hint-wise. Obviously playing for the he's on trial tonight. So we'll see how he does. If anyone knows what time that game is, I'm not too sure. Or is it already on now or something? I'm not too sure. But, do let us know. Chio, 7.9. I think he meant to put very close to man of the match. He runs up and down that right hand side non-stop. Exactly. There. Jackie says Morris 7.5. Morris 7.7 should have had a pen. VAR needs to go if they're not picking it up on these errors. Kept going. No fair play to him. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I couldn't agree more. With this, Jackie. I could not agree more. These referees, man, they just do my nutting. Seriously, the most watched league.
He got in the way of the ball twice. Remember early on?
Yeah, twice. Yeah, I was going to say, yeah.
We've seen him before in other games. Yeah, he's not great. This guy, yeah.
And I don't mean to be disrespectful, right? But half of them, like they're quite big, aren't they? And they're refereeing the top level. Are you sure they can even keep up with the play? It does my nutting, especially in this league. Oh, mate. Oh, it does my nutting. Townsend, good player. Yeah, exactly. He's got the experience. But like I say, for me, if we are to sign him, we'll see how he does tonight. And then we'll obviously judge it. We won't obviously be watching it proper, but see, the highlights will come out. Well, they should do, because they usually do. Especially now that's been announced. It would make sense, wouldn't it? For them to come out on the YouTube of Luton. 7 p.m. apparently, and then 7:30, so one of them two, round about that time. So coming up essentially. So I know it's just a joke. It's just a joke, to be honest. But a lot of the prices, even the footballers get is a joke, as we know. But that's for another day. Moving on to the players that come on. So obviously we'll start off with Burke. Obviously come on in the 21st minute. I'll say not a great game from him, but for me it didn't help that he was in that left centre back role. So I don't think I've ever seen him there. Obviously, he come on for Bell. Obviously, the goal. I want to say he could have done better, but again, it's not his side. It just didn't help. So, not a great game from him in that aspect. I'll go with a 6.
I'll give him a 6.5. Base pure, out of position. He got an assist for the goal, which was important. But other than that, yeah, like he struggled. You could tell he definitely weren't used to playing in that position. Like his body language, the way he was trying to hold the man and defend, and that he doesn't do that. Do you know what I mean? Like you see him on the other side, he's more confident. He knows exactly where the ball's going to go. This time, you could see that he was uncomfortable, but he got assist as well. So and he come on, probably weren't fully fit as well. So I give him a 6.5.
That's why, it didn't help for me as well. Because, like I said, Rob Edwards said he was available, but not. He was just getting there, sort of thing. That's why I went with Anderson. Especially with how good he's been since he's come in as well. But I don't know. I'm not the manager, am I? So it's one of them. Stephen says Bert 5.5. Never switch off. And don't forgive me, rude. Don't care about it. It means nothing if you can't defend. Stephen's going in on him. Burke 6, says Jackie. Standard 6 there. Moving on to Elijah. Very good when he come on. I'll tell you what, and I did say it to you when we were watching it together, Dad. If he come on and got that goal and we got some sort of result, I'd have given man of the match. Just because we needed that. You know, we needed that sort of, not even because he scored, just for the fact, you know, he's come on, he's affected the game, and he was one of the main reasons, him and Chong, when they come on, why we were so dominant for me going forward in that second half anyway, you know, at the start of it, until obviously we got the goal. And yeah, it's very good for me. Very good for me. So I'm going with a 7.5.
Well, I'm giving him a 7.5. He is my man of the match. I don't care if he comes on as a substitute. You know, before he scored, he was hungry, he was going forward, he looked a lot more confident, he was affecting stuff. We've said he needs to be getting in the box when we've got these opportunities, and he did exactly that. Lovely swivel turn. And to be honest, I felt sorry for him because we conceded immediately after and just took that away from him in a way, you know. First Premier League goal. Yeah, like just edges it for me, just based on that. So yeah, man of the match 7.5.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Like I say, if we got some sort of result, you know, whether that was a draw or win, I'd definitely give him man of the match. That's why I put him with a 7.5. Jackie says Elijah 8. Well done for him. Yeah, absolutely. Steve says Adebayo 7. Huge impact. Well taken goal. Yeah, exactly, mate. And then moving on to the player that I briefly mentioned, Chong. Now that was the Chong I was used to seeing. You know, the first couple of games when he come in, even the pre-season games. You know, you saw what he's more than capable of doing, and you see that in this game. And he was a massive part of you know, us dominating that second half until we got that goal. So for me, I won't go as high as Elijah, but I'll still give him a 7.3. That's a bit different there.
I'll give him 7.5. For, you know, technically that's the best we've seen him so far. You know, he looked dangerous. He looked like he knew he wanted the ball played, etc. You know, he looked real quality. And in moments where before we've seen him, like, he just keeps hold of that ball. He's one of them players who can just, you know, run through a couple of players and still come out the other side with the ball. He showed a little bit of that as well. And because he's been benched and stuff like that, it does build players up sometimes to when they do come on to go, right, well, I'll show you why I should be starting. Yeah, he was quite integral in our attacking in the second half, I thought. And yeah, 7.5.
Yeah, no, absolutely agree with that. Jackie's gone with a 7.5 as well. Steve says Chong 7.2, he made a difference. Also, Burnley players couldn't contain him. Exactly, and we've seen that of a lot of players. They haven't really been able to deal with him. Yeah, the score lines reflect different, but him individually, a lot of the teams are struggling. You know, even Chelsea were for large parts of that game. I think even Brighton were to a certain extent. So we know his quality's there. You know, we know it from the game that we don't want to talk about, but that's how we know. One of the main reasons was that 5-0 win Birmingham got. He was obviously very influential in that game. But yeah, they're all the substitutions. Obviously, only made 3 out of, you know, the available 5 in this game. Obviously, one of them was an injury, like we said. Unfortunately, but yeah, it was probably going to happen at some point with the amount of games he was playing. But any final things you'd like to say on that Burnley game, Dad?
Just unlucky, but you know, we discussed this before. As long as the performance is there and we're fighting, which we did do. You know, we've played 7 games. We're above the relegation zone. You would have took that if someone said to you at the start of the season, after 7 games, would you be like happy with like being out, you know, well in with the fight so far and, you know, 4th from bottom or whatever it is? You'd have took it. So we got to be pleased, you know, and we can see that at home. You know, because I've watched a few of Burnley's games as well, and they have played Man City and they have played Man United and that Tottenham, but in parts of them games, you know, they've looked like a decent side. and I'm sure they probably will pick up. So yeah, it's not too bad.
Yeah, no, fair enough. I agree. Like attacking, we were brilliant. It's just can't afford to switch off. But other than that, we were really good. We were really good in the game, I felt. But yeah, it's one of them. But moving on to the game tomorrow, obviously we are taking on, I'll say, a big team, as they say. Obviously, Tottenham at home. This is the biggest test so far this season for me. Despite it being, at home in that sense. People say, "Oh, wait, to maybe Chelsea or someone." I would say this is the biggest, especially if our Tottenham have been a lot better than Chelsea. So far this season. Obviously, going into it, table wise, obviously we're 17th, so we're actually still above Burnley with a +2 better goal difference. Obviously on 4 points. And then obviously Tottenham are second, joint points with Arsenal. Funny enough, the same goal difference. But obviously if Tottenham do win, obviously being at the 12:30 kickoff, they will go top of the league. Obviously if we win, 6, 7, it really depends on our goal difference. We could maybe get up to, I'd say 16, probably highest, because, Wolves, yeah, we'd have to beat Tottenham like 3-0 or something. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah. But yeah, a bit of insight going into it, like we always do. This is the first meeting between Luton and Tottenham in any competition since the goalless draw in a top-flight game at Kenilworth Road in March 1992. Spurs are unbeaten in 9 league games against Luton, winning 5, drawing 4 since the 2-0 away defeat in November 1987, with Ian Allinson, I think that's how you say his name, scoring a brace for the Hatters. Luton have won just one of their last 10 home league games against London sides, drawing 5, losing 4, beating QPR 3-1. Obviously, that was a beautiful day. Obviously on T-Boys TV as well. Tottenham have won 12 of their last 14 Premier League games against promoted sides, drawing 1, losing 1. Already beaten Burnley and Sheffield United this season. Yeah, that's a good shout out. Sheffield United won, didn't they? Won right at the end, didn't they? They've not lost to a side in their debut season in the competition since 2010 to 11, and that was 3-1 against Blackpool. And then the last one, Tottenham are unbeaten in 8 Premier League games, winning 6, drawing 2, with no side currently on a longer run without defeat than Spurs. So, like we say, obviously they're doing very well. Obviously, their manager, since he's come in, has been doing a lot better than I would have thought. Thought they'd have done better, but not be, as good as they have been so far. Obviously, like I said, no defeats for them this season. Obviously, 7 games, 5 wins, 2 draws, and obviously no losses. And, yeah, obviously their last game was controversial. Let's just be real now. But, as it stands, they're unbeaten still, like I say. And even if they did have that loss, they'd still be up there anyway. So it's one of them. But a bit of, insight from, Rob Edwards going into it, injury news, and just a bit more general stuff, based on the game, referees and all that, like we usually do as well. I'll get into that. Just bear with me while it decides to load. So yeah, obviously Tottenham at home, as we all know, on TNT Sports. It says Luton Town have arguably their toughest Premier League opponent so far this season, as we host second place Tottenham Hotspur at Kenilworth Road, live on TNT Sports. Obviously Rob Edwards' side obviously lost against Burnley midweek after scoring their first ever Premier League win at Everton last weekend. Postecoglou's Spurs are unbeaten in the Premier League so far this season, sitting 1 point behind leaders Manchester City after their controversial win against Liverpool last Saturday. Undefeated Spurs come into this fixture with an 8-game unbeaten streak, like I mentioned. The appointment of Postecoglou from Celtic this summer has proven to be a popular one amongst the Spurs faithful. Tottenham have scored at least twice in all 7 of their Premier League games under Postecoglou. No manager has ever seen his team score 2 or more goals in his first 8 games in charge in the Premier League. So he's broke a record there. Son Heung-min has hit a good patch of form in recent weeks, scored 6 goals in his last 4 Premier League games, which is as many as he had in his previous 23 combined. This is the first top flight meeting, obviously, like I said, since 1991-92 season. And then Rob Edwards going into it, he says, West Ham, Wolves and Burnley have been great games, which we should have had 1 more points from. The performances have been good, but this Saturday's a notch up. Tottenham are a fantastic team and a massive club. It's an exciting game for us. It'll be interesting to see how the stadium is at 12:30, and hopefully everyone can bring the noise. And the funny thing I saw in the interview, actually, he forgot that he thought there was no 12:30 game where he's, been the manager of Luton so far, and then the person who was interviewing him reminded him of the Watford game, and he was like, "Yeah, hopefully it's the same atmosphere for that." So yeah, there's that, and then his thoughts on Ange. He says he's excellent. They have world-class players, household names, and have adapted really well since losing their talisman Harry Kane. They're aggressive, fast, very good with the ball. They build and control the ball and have outstanding individuals. It's going to be a really difficult test for us. Ange's done a great job so far, but everyone has to lose at some stage. So let's have a really good go at it. So yeah, that's that. Obviously, the last game, like I said, obviously it was a 0-0. We have, last time we played Tottenham. And then team news going into it, obviously Jamaica international Maury Bell is set to miss out after being substituted with a hamstring problem early into the Burnley game, as we know. And then Rob Edwards has confirmed that Ross Barkley will actually be back for this one. Obviously, there was talk and rumours that he'd be back for Everton. It wasn't, but he is going to be back for this one, which is obviously really good. And then obviously the usual ones that are out at the moment are still out, like your Osho, your Potts, Lukonga, and Clark. So yeah, that is that. The officials going into this one, you got to have a look at these things. You got to is John Brooks. 43 yellow cards and 2 red cards have been handed out by Banks, even though it says Brooks, across his 9 games so far this season. Luton Town last had a game ran by Brooks, there you go, in November 2022 when the Hatters were held to a goalless draw against Reading at Kenilworth Road. I think that was the game Sonny Bradley got that horrific injury, from what I can remember. Yeah, it's a midweek. Yeah, I remember that game. So yeah, and then VAR is Michael Oliver, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, that's just all of that upon the game. After saying all of that, Dad, how are you feeling going into this one?
Well, it's a bit of a strange one because, things sometimes affect games, yeah? And I feel like there'll be a lot, indirect pressure on this game for VAR, etc., to get it right because of the controversy in the last game with Tottenham, the fact that it's at Luton, things like that. It's going to be in the spotlight. Also, we were angry about, losing to Burnley. So is the game, they've had like more rest than we have. It's a quick turnaround for us. I feel we do need to make changes, and that could affect us as well. But they're carrying Maddison and Son are meant to be carrying like injuries, but available to play, similar to probably what you see that a lot in the Premier League. They'll just play them because they're the best players, etc. So there's that. There's the fact that previously in other seasons that Tottenham, when they've got the chance to go top or whatever, they mess it up. With the last 3 games we played them at Kenilworth Road have all been 0-0 draws. Obviously they've got a lot of quality. They've got a determined manager at the moment, so it's going to be an interesting game. So it's just intriguing for me, really. It's not like I'm fearful necessarily of a massive defeat. It's going to happen this season. It could happen in this game because they are one of the better teams. But I just think there's a lot of stuff in the background that's going to make the game interesting, and it could go anyway for me. So yeah, that's how I'm feeling going into it.
Yeah. No, fair enough. As for me, yeah, I'm similar to you, and it's also the fact, like Rob Edwards said, it is the biggest test so far. So it is intriguing, like you say, in that sense as well. 12:30 kickoff. You know what Spurs are capable of. When it comes to Spursying it up, as they say, and you never know. This could be the game. I'm not saying it is going to be, but it could be. You don't know. You don't know. A lot of them players, they won't be used to coming to a stadium like Kenilworth Road, compact. Obviously their stadium there, I think their pitch is like it's a lot bigger out wide and that sort of thing. Which, yeah, and a lot of their players, a lot of them have got very good at cutting in that sort of thing, and it's going to be interesting, man. Just with the tight pitch, the 12:30 kickoff. Obviously, like you say, they've had longer time to recover, but no, I agree. I agree with you really when it comes to that. Let's go through some comments, some ones that I starred earlier. Big up to Chris. He says, first Big Six team to play at Luton this season. I'm intrigued. So he's similar to us. But again, it's dangerous talk from their fans saying easy win when it's not going to be. To be fair, most of them that I've seen, well, I've seen a few on social media, but majority of them I've seen have reckon it's going to be a tight game. And for me, they should really think that, especially if it being at Kenilworth Road. Sort of an unknown identity, for them really in that sense. So, yeah, the ones that are, I've seen a few, they're saying 5-0, that sort of thing, they're just chatting.
Yeah, it could be, but what based on the way they are at the moment, they're unbeaten, they're second, but if it is away, then yeah, I'd be thinking, do you know what I mean? But because we're gonna have that extra edge at home, I think.
Yeah. I think this one's interesting because you say realistically, and a lot of their players obviously, we wouldn't be paying for them. I'll take out the realistically because I even looked at their squad and I was, I couldn't see us getting any of these probably if we're being proper realistic. Unless it's a mental loan. I don't really know. They've got 3 really good players. As we know, obviously individuals like Rob Edwards said, obviously Son, Kulusevski. I've always rated him since he come in. Obviously, I expect him to start for them on that right hand side, which is going to be interesting. Obviously, Maddison, since he's come in, he's been phenomenal. I'll let you go first on this one, Dad. I'll let you go first.
Let's be honest, we probably take half their squad.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. Yeah.
But if it was we had the money, we was a certain stature or whatever, and we could get them players, then definitely I'll be looking at Son.
Exactly.
100%. Maddison, yeah. Even Richarlison.
Ooh.
Romero.
Really?
Do you know what I mean? Romero.
Yeah,
sorry.
Romero's class. He's class, yeah.
Probably half of their squad, to be honest.
Yeah, exactly. It's a difficult one.
But
I'll just say Son because we know how good he is and he's been doing it years upon years. Apart from last season, but one player usually tends to have an off season. So
this is football. If we maintain our Premiership status or whatever, you never know. Like any of them players can end up playing for us. I mean, who would have thought Barkley would have been playing for us 10 years ago? Even Townsend, which I think we probably will end up signing. So anything is possible in that respect. But yeah, plenty. And this is where, again, I'm going to reiterate, this is a massive test because for me, that Burnley game would have took a lot out of certain players as well, and the quick turnaround could be probably disadvantage to us. You know what I mean? Like we could get battered in this game based on that. But I just think it's too many caveats and we won't get battered.
No, I don't think we will. I don't think we will. But yeah, that is that. And then what we're going to move on to now is a Spurs fan has kindly done a just under a minute video, just their preview thoughts going into it. So I will play that, and then obviously we'll get into our lineup and that sort of thing, and then obviously score predictions. So bear with me while I just get it up. You know what this laptop's like, but yeah, Hanno with a very interesting. While this loads, Hanno with a very interesting thing to say about what he would do if he was a Luton fan, which we all got opinions, but I do think that's a mad one. But we'll get into it. But obviously, like I say, the Spurs fan has kindly done a preview. Abby Summers. So we'll play now. And yeah, apologies about that echo. I don't know why it always does that on the Hatter Show, but yeah, I'll play it now.
Spurs take on Luton this weekend at Kenilworth Road. I think the typical that the old Spurs, the Spursy, would have lost. I am trying to feel a little bit more confident under the new Ange era that we will be able to go there and be dominant and come away with all 3 points. Obviously, though, not taking Luton lightly. 3 points last weekend at Goodison Park. That is no easy feat for any team, despite the form Everton are in. But I do think that this should be a game that Tottenham win fairly comfortably. Got a few injury problems. Brennan Johnson, he is out still with a hamstring problem. And also Manuel Solomon, he has done his meniscus. So that is another one that is sidelined for the foreseeable future. But for me, as a Spurs fan, I think this should be a routine 2-0 victory. Sorry, Luton fans.
So yeah, that is what Abby had to say. I'll say thank you to her for coming on and doing that. Obviously, we tried to do it live, but she was quite busy tonight. So yeah, big up for that. But yeah, she's obviously gone with a 2-0, which is understandable. That could be one of the scores I could see. But obviously, like I said, a few injuries for Spurs still. Brennan Johnson, which he has started to get in the team. So for me, that's good for us. That is a good one to hear in that sense, because also he's played against us, obviously, for Forest. So he'll know a little bit about us. Obviously we've changed our team around, but certain players are still there, that sort of thing. So I think that's good in that sense. But yeah, that is that. But yeah, let's go into obviously the lineups that we would go with for this one. So bear with me while I get that up. So yeah, there's that. So for me, my lineup in this one, I'm changing the formation. I know we've been going with three at home, but one of them, when there's three there, one of them hasn't really tend to be working for me. Even in the Wolves game, Brown, he wasn't as effective. Morris and Chio, yes. It just hasn't been as effective for me since that Fulham game. I'll say he's still done well defensively, but his main job, he hasn't really done too much for me since that Fulham game. So, yeah, I'm going with this formation. It's obviously a cam. Obviously, I'm not going with all these players who's just already in. So, Kaminsky in goal. Obviously, I'll keep that. My back three, obviously, is not going to be Bell because he's not available. I'm going to go with Menji. I'm actually going to put him on that left side. In the middle, I probably will stick with Lockyer. I will stick with him. And then that right side, I am going to go with Anderson. I'll give Burke a rest in that. And then the left side, I am going with, even though he's played a lot of games, I just feel he still deserves it. I'm going to go with Doughty. And then the right side, I'm actually going to go with Chio. Like I said, we've seen him play there, obviously for Ireland against France as well, and he's done a really good job there. So, yeah, I'm going to go with him. Kabore has not been good enough for me. And like I say, if it's him against Son, I think it will be. Some people are saying Son might go in the middle. Either way, he'll be drifting out to that left at times. So I think it'll be a very long afternoon if he's there. wouldn't be surprised if he is there because he's a lone player, rare to tear, Man City, all that. But I would drop him if I had the choice. The midfield, obviously, you can't go Lukonga because he's out. So Nakamba definitely. And I'm going to go with Ruddock, I guess. There's not really anyone else to play that sort of role. And then as my cam, as much as Barkley's back, me personally, I'll move him back a little bit. I'm not going to go with him. I am going to go with Chong in this one because he looked good when he come on. Barkley, I'd bring him on, to maybe, depending on how the game's going, with half an hour left, just to use that experience. He just, so I wouldn't risk it really to start him. Like I say, Chong looked good. And I'll move these two back a little bit as well. Yeah, the front two, I'd stick it like that. I'd keep it like that, to be fair. Morris, you can't drop him for me. It also goes back to what I said earlier. The only player who's got 2 or more goals this season for us is him. You can't drop him. He's being effective in the games, even if he's not scoring. And then Elijah, I feel he deserves to start. I would start him because Brown, like I say, since that Fulham game, he hasn't been the greatest when it comes to, like I say, attacking for me. And Elijah, now he's got that goal, confidence could be there, and it, hopefully will be. So yeah, go with the original front two in this one, and then keep Chio on in that right wing back role, and see how that goes. Have a cam because it's still attacking. People say, oh, it's free. It's not free. It's not as attack. It is because you've still got the cam. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, that's what I would go with. Dad, I think there's a few changes you'd make, wouldn't you, to that lineup?
But I think between us, we'll probably get it, pretty much spot on. I can see that formation being used. Obviously, I'll show you mine.
Yeah, no worries. Get rid of this.
So yeah, so I've gone with a 4-3-1-2.
Yeah.
So obviously Kaminsky in goal for me. Bell we know's injured, so I'm going to put Menji 4 at the back, Menji and left back, Lockyer, Burke in the centre, Kabore, who is going to start in this game, and I feel like Chio, obviously on the right, will help cover him. Nakamba, obviously CDM. I'm going to rest Doughty. I'm going to start Giles on the left. I think this could be a game for Giles to kick in if he does start. And then attacking midfield, I'm going to have Chong. Barkley probably on the bench. And then Morris and Brown still up front. Obviously, Elijah can come on if he needs to. But I think that Brown has got certain attributes and has been showing them more that could cause Tottenham problems, and I do feel that we need an attacking midfielder in there. So Chong's in there for me.
Yeah. No, that's fair enough. I hear that, with the back four, essentially there's cover in front of that as well. Like you put with obviously Chio and Giles. I mean, we will have to put Giles in at some point at home, so it does make sense. And I wouldn't be surprised if it is tomorrow, I guess, especially if how much doubt he's played. But then again, it wouldn't be because obviously you've seen Bell overplay, and we've seen that. So yeah, it's all interesting. But we will see. Jackie says good lineup. That was to my one. So yeah, I think it is. When it comes to that, and absolutely. I do clips for the COP TV, so I managed to, he managed to help me out and obviously get her on. So obviously she's a fairly big Tottenham fan as well, so that was good to see. And yeah, no, absolutely. Like I say, we was hoping to do it live, but unfortunately she was busy doing stuff. So that is that. But yeah, it is that time, Dad. It is that time. I say we're both intrigued going into this one. 12:30 kickoff versus Tottenham. Biggest test of the season so far. What is the score going to be?
Realistically, I'm going to go, with a narrow defeat for us. Feel like they've got that little bit. They've got extra quality. I think the game's come too quick for us. I do think we'll be able to give it a go in patches, but we'd need the players that are going to come on to fully do their bit, and I just can't. I think it's going to be moments, but it's just not going to be enough. But I'll take that, So I'm going to go for a narrow 2-1 defeat.
That's fair enough. My score prediction, how do I see it going? Tottenham at home, 12:30 kickoff. Biggest test of the season so far. Tottenham, I would say, obviously they're unbeaten. They're doing very well this season. It's a difficult game. I'm actually on the same wavelength as you. I'm going with a 2-1 win for Spurs as well. I think it'll be similar to what it's been like in both the home games as well, that we've lost, where it's been 2-1, obviously West Ham, and I don't think that might be it actually. But that's Burnley, of course, yeah. I was thinking there was one, and then I was like, is there? But yeah, that's the one I'm going to there, and yeah, I think it'll be one of them.
But again, similar to the Everton situation, like we're happy to be proven wrong. You know what I mean? Of course.
Yeah.
But it depends I think you've got to make the right decisions tactically. Right, you've got to bring on. If a player's not ready, he's not ready. If he's at 80%, you need these players. You know what I mean? You need to make them be bold and make them changes.
My man's speeding up the road, isn't he? Jeez.
Yeah. Might see some blue lights in a minute, but yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like, happy to be proven wrong. There is that thing in the, but I believe in their manager. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like the guest said, it's not the Spursy thing as it would have been a couple of years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
But also adding to that is the fact that he's a good manager, but he ain't been to Kenilworth Road. He hasn't, not even just Kenilworth Road. I think any other team below the Premier League, where you can go to these stadiums and it's different. Playing Grimsby away or whatever. This is probably. I think this might. Correct me if I'm wrong. But I think this might be like his first sort of experience of that as well. And a lot of them players as well. Son and then man there. So Richarlison, I know he'll get rattled against. I know for a fact that he's going to definitely get booked or something against us. With the Watford connection as well, he can be. He's a brilliant footballer, but he lets his ego get the better of him at times. This is that can happen. And I like it because you look at all these different caveats to the game, and you can see things, especially watching, all the way from conference upwards. You see different mentalities and how certain players react to things and that. And even watching the Premier League, you see it. So that could happen. Even Maddison as well.
I think he got a yellow card last week, actually, for mouthing off or something.
He's got that little bit of ego as well. Very good midfielder. But if you compare that guy to Dewsbury Hall from Leicester, and you can see both very good players, but Dewsbury Hall's like a lot more humble. And that experience, when he come on loan to us has definitely helped to develop his career.
Mm.
It's obvious. Do you know what I mean? He's done really well for us. Leicester took him back, started, playing him a little bit. Now he's like, he has to be on the team sheet. Mate. He's probably their best player at the moment. And potentially, if he was playing in the Premier League and they were doing well, I reckon he'd be getting looked at for the England squad. Anyway, watch this space. But yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Jackie says she's praying for a draw. Common
Well, history. Sorry to button, but history. At home we've played 24 times and we've drawn half of them games. So there is potential for that, and I'd be pleased with that. I'd take that going into the international break. Hopefully still be above the relegation zone. Even if we're not, we're fighting, and that would be a massive result against an unbeaten side that's improving, developing since the departure of Harry Kane, their best player. So that would be a very good result. But wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, now we will see. And then a score prediction from earlier was Chris. He's gone with the exact same as us. He's gone with a 2-1 to Spurs. And that is that. But yeah, that is episode 123 of the Hat Show done. So yeah, big up to everyone that tuned in. Obviously, like I say, I'll be back again with a watch along tomorrow. Obviously, to the early kickoff. So do make sure you tune into that if you can. I might potentially, I'm not 100% sure yet. It's one of them where you'll just find out whenever you see this stream schedule. But I might potentially be having a Tottenham fan on with me in person. So I'll be pretty sick. One of my long-term mates. So yeah, I'll let you lot know. But obviously, well, I won't be able to let you lot know. Actually, I'll just see it. You'll see. Me. I'll put people on the thumbnail who's obviously coming on the watch-alongs, etc. So you'll just see from that. But that might be a potential. If not, it'll probably just be myself. But yeah. Don't forget to smash a like if you haven't already. The current like count, I think, is on 12 likes. Yeah, 12 likes currently. Smash the like button if you haven't already. Do subscribe to the channel if you haven't already as well. And then if you want to follow me across any of my social medias, obviously links to them are in the description. And if you do want to follow Abby, the Tottenham fan, she doesn't have a YouTube channel, but she does have, obviously Instagram and Twitter. I did put them links in the description as well. So yeah, do make sure you check them out. And as for the next Hatter Show, well, obviously international break coming up, so we'll probably do it at some point next week. Before England play, we'll do it before then. And we'll probably do it on the Monday. Monday maybe. We'll see. So yeah, that is that. But any final things you'd like to say about anything, Dad?
Nah, just enjoy it. As I always say, just enjoy the ride. You know what I mean? Even if we do get hammered, you're not going to be that disappointed about it. It's Tottenham. They're doing well at the moment. But just enjoy it. That's all I can say. Just enjoy the fight. There'll be certain players out there that will still give the performances. And just take care.
Yeah.
That's all I can say, really. It's up and down, isn't it? It's the Luton way at the moment. You can fast, And then we've got the international break, so that gives a bit of chill. Then we've got, a game that we can potentially definitely get something out. Nottingham Forest away, I think it is.
Correct.
We do well against them. We've played them, under Rob Edwards, I believe, and before that Nathan Jones, etc. So he sets up in certain ways. It's not that they've got decent players, but they ain't got much better players than we have, in my opinion. So we've got that. So it'll be interesting. Just enjoy it.
We'll see. and we've got something big planned for that. Obviously during the game, me and you. So yeah, stay tuned for that. Obviously, we'll let you lot know what is going to be going on nearer the time. But yeah, that is that. Like I say, we'll aim to do the How to Show reacting to this on Monday. So then when it comes to that Forest game, we can just, get straight into it. Makes sense, doesn't it? With there being an international break. So yeah, that is that. Like I say, smash a like, subscribe. Big up to Stephen for that comment as well. Big up to everyone that has tuned in, the regulars and all of that. But yeah, big up, smash a like, subscribe, all of that. Follow me across any of my socials if you're not already. And yeah, subscribe to the other channel as well. T-Boys TV Extra. Link to that is obviously in the description. And Nightbot, obviously the bot that's the computers obviously said, put the channel there so you can just click on it, subscribe. And yeah, that is that. So until tomorrow, I'll see you lot on the watch along, and then hopefully on Monday, we'll see you on for the reaction to this game. So until then, take care and peace up the town.